us growing up was wildly different than them growing up. But couldn't you say that in our age that we understand other people's intentions a little bit better? So there's almost this naivete when you're younger, and
Yeah.
you think you automatically assume the best. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the very valuable things that you get with age and time is you get a more honest perspective of reality.
Yes.
So if you have social media, for example, it's something that seems like a harmless tool, right? Especially if I'm in charge and like you trust me to not go on it all day and to go on the right accounts, sure. But do you trust the other people on the other side? Because we know it's rampant with predators. Like,
Of
this is just
course.
one example, right?
Yes, yes,
Of like
yes.
a young person thinking something is harmless and I know what's best for me because all of my peers are doing it, and then if you're not letting me do it, then I'm being left out, all of these things. But there's a lot of nuanced problem solving that we have to do. So I guess it's in that situation, like, couldn't you argue that you do know better? Like, if she's like, I know better than this, or if she's trying to maybe wear something a little bit more mature, because we all did
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? Like, we were trying to experiment what is
right, what is
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like being a woman and how do I want to present myself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with like a crop top and short shorts, or you know what I mean? Not at all. But you have to understand the gravity of making that decision, like putting on that outfit, putting on makeup, putting on heels that does say something to the observer, right? And you just have to understand that not everyone's intentions are pure. So like consciously consent to the things that you're doing. And at certain ages, it's just not possible unless you have input from like an older, wiser woman or man.
Yes. I mean, I think you're hitting the nail on the head. It's not that you want them to do what you want because you said and because you know better.
Mm-hmm.
It takes more time to parent in the way that you're talking about. Because for me, conscious parenting is, do I have more history in the area? Of course. So if I haven't gained knowledge from that, well, that's sad because I want to be able to pass that on. But it's being able to share that knowledge and allow them to get to the point where you are without forcing it down their throat. So my question in regards to like the crop top and the outfit or Instagram and predators would be to try to educate as much as possible on the front end. So for Instagram, it would be, we just have rules about talking to people we don't know. So it's like, if it's your friends, then that's fine. And if it's somebody else, please do not. And if somebody else reaches out to you, let me know so that I can check it out. So we have rules, but I'm going to trust that they are going to understand those rules after we've talked about it and why, and then follow them. And so breaking trust, we've had that conversation too, that like if you break trust, then there are repercussions for that. Because if you do that, then I can't trust you to have this and we'll have to remove it. So I think setting the outline and the expectation allows them to have the thing that they want and be like, cool, my mom's on my side. And then it puts the responsibility in their court of, hey, we have set guidelines and we agreed on these things and you understand why. So just make sure you follow them. And then, of course, as a parent, it's your job to check in, right?
Right.
So you can't expect them to do that. You have to do that. And then on clothes and stuff like that, I think it's really important to teach people teach your children about how they're portraying themselves. So, I mean, the crop top and shorts might be cute for certain events, but maybe not for other events. So it's important to teach those things. And I think a lot of times in our fast-paced society, it's just like, forget taking the time to teach, just force. No, that's not appropriate. But why is it not appropriate? You know, take the time to talk with them. They're humans.
No, that's a really good perspective because it's based in reality. It's not trying to shelter them from the world or potential consequences, and then they have the tools to adapt if they need be. So it's not like they're left out there without any experience in the situation.
Yeah. And these are all little things. It's like we have the chance to teach them these tools and these thought patterns with little things. And if we don't do it now, the things just get bigger and bigger as they age, and then they don't know what to do with them. But if you show them, oh, this is how I reasoned this is why, and you take the time to explain, you're teaching them the thought pattern. And then they can apply it in other areas. So you're giving so much more than a lecture about what you're wearing today, right?
So where is the fine line between that guidance and kind of like that shepherding, which I think is beautiful, and that's the way that I try to parent as well, is a guide. Like, I'm not here to dictate anything to you, but I want to present you with all of the information that I have, and then hopefully you make the decisions that are best for you and best for
Yeah.
the family, etc. But what is the line between shepherding, encouraging that independence, and then just like passive parenting? And maybe in
Or you
like
just let them do anything.
right, in like a self-sabotaging way. Like maybe you think you're doing it in order to encourage that freedom, but really like you're just checked out as a parent and like you don't want them not to like you. So it's okay, well you must know best at 13. Like you don't. You're 13. There's a
Yes.
lot of life and a lot of
Yeah.
lessons that are coming your way, but they're not there yet.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I think a good way to check in for adults, which one am I doing, is am I actually taking the time to go through the thought process? So if you're sitting there and taking the time to talk with them and hear their feedback, hearing their feedback doesn't mean you change the rule. It just allows them to understand that my parent has created a safe place for me to voice these things. And what I try to teach them is, or with my kids a lot of times, is, hey, this is how I see it. And then I let them bring how they see it. And I'm like, I know we can find a common ground. Let's work on that together. And that also teaches them problem solving skills. It's like they're going to have all of these scenarios come up, and the scenarios just get bigger and bigger as they go into the workforce, they go to school, college, etc. So it's like, if you're taking the time to listen, then you're not, and from my point of view, you're not doing what, I forget what you called it, but basically lazy parenting, where it's like, oh, I just want them to like me. My kids are going to like me. And even if it's not right now, eventually at some point, when they're older. So I always think long game. I'm like, this is a long game. So even if right now it's a little bit uncomfortable or they don't love it, I'm looking for the long-term result.